Hey, welcome to day one of our midline march. We're going to talk about posterior and anterior pelvic tilt. And yes, these matter. So I'm going to have, this is Nicole. Say hi, Nicole. She's going to turn on the side. I want you guys to focus on this part of her spine. Right now, she's going to be in a neutral position. And now she's going to go to an anterior pelvic tilt. So if you notice here, she's kind of made that Instagram pose where it makes her butt look nice and big and her back is arched. This is not a happy position to lift weights from. It's not a happy position to do any weightlifting from, or gymnastics, I should say. Now she's going to switch to a posterior pelvic tilt, and so she's tucked her tail underneath, she's brought her abs tight, and now you see that her back is nice and flat. So go back to anterior pelvic tilt, so she goes into Beyonce or Instagram pose, and then flattens it out. Oh yeah, and then tighten it down. And so this is what we want. We want more of a posterior to pelvic tilt to create a little bit more neutral spine. Hey guys, here's a quick follow-up to the last video. I know it was a little bit hard to see the different positions of the pelvis, particularly because our cameraman was just moving around way too much. But I wanted to kind of follow up and give you a little bit more information so it makes it a little bit more clear. This pelvic tilt thing is super important. It's one of the foundational pieces to creating good midline stabilization, and it's something that gets overlooked quite a bit. I want you guys to pretend like your pelvis is a fishbowl. Typically, people like to stand when they're kind of just being lazy. They'll stand in such a way that the fishbowl is actually tipped forward, and now the water is pouring all out all over the floor. And so what we're trying to get you to do is try to get that fishbowl back upright. And the way you do that is you squeeze your butt, and it brings the pelvis back into a neutral position. This is hugely important when we go into things like hollow body position, which Nicole is going to go into tomorrow. This is also super important when you're moving a barbell and squatting. Oftentimes you have people, they'll initiate their squat by tipping the fishbowl forward, and then when they get to the very bottom, then they get into that pooping dog position. And so it's super important to maintain pelvic angle control, whether you're weightlifting or you're doing gymnastics. That's super crucial. So if you go back and look at the previous video, you can see again, if you look really closely, the way the angle of Nicole's pelvis tips back and forth. And the easiest way to see if someone is in anterior pelvic tilt is you see a big arch in the low back. Okay? When you go into a more neutral pelvic tilt, the low back is going to be a whole lot flatter. It's going to look a whole lot smoother on the back side instead of having that nice curvature or that Beyonce booty thing that I was mentioning. Your goal for today is to just practice moving your pelvis back and forth from anterior to posterior pelvic tilt. Easiest way to do that is to put your brain on your low back and try to make a big arch, okay? And that's what's gonna send the pelvis forward. Then on the way back, what I want you to think about doing is pretend you've got this enormous Texas-style belt buckle and you're trying to send your belt buckle to face the ceiling. And you're gonna squeeze your butt and then squeeze it some more and then squeeze real hard, and that's gonna actually take the pelvis into a more neutral position. But give that a try, practice it about 30 reps back and forth until you can kind of get a sense of where you are in space. If it helps, put yourself in front of a mirror and look at profile and make a big arch in your low back. Watch how your pelvis tips forward, and then squeeze your butt and watch as your pelvis comes back up. If you have any questions, post them in the comments or send us a message, and we're happy to help. See you guys later.